Good
Good morning.
morning, Nancy.
Good
Hi,
morning,
Um,
awesome
Nancy.
planet.
yes, good afternoon to everybody watching on the live stream and watching on the replay. We have a very, very special guest, Chef Reggie Aspiras. And, this is a legendary culinary icon in the Philippines. And we're honored to have you to talk to you about your story, about your culinary DNA. My name is Anton Diaz, founder of Our Awesome Planet, together with the
One and only.
Nancy Reyes Lumen, known as a Adobo Queen, streaming
Hello.
live at 4 a.m. in Houston, Texas, to have a
Pero
discussion
Anton,
with Chef
hindi lang
Reggie
siya
Aspiras.
hindi lang siya pang nationwide. She's global already. She's
Oh,
already
global
global. She
na.
has her
Yes,
followers all over the world. Yeah.
all over the world. Yes, and we're awesome live with Chef Reggie Aspiras. Can you
Hello.
do a short clip? Short clip. Yes, finally.
Wala.
Finally. I didn't think it was going to be that quick. Sorry.
Finally,
But I'm back. We've been having like major technical difficulties with I don't know. It's the first time I'm using StreamYard, so that's really my problem. I tried logging on early. For some
But that's
strange
okay.
reason.
Wait,
Yeah.
Reg, you look good. You look
You
good.
look good.
Oh, thank you very much. How are you? How's everybody? Thank you for inviting me. I'm so honored to be here.
Yes. And to kick off our discussion, because a lot of people know you. I'm not sure though if everybody knows how you started with your culinary journey. No? And we wanted to know, paano ba nagsimula si Miss Chef Reggie Aspiras? And how did it start? Ano ba yan? And maybe we'll start from there.
How did I start? Wow, I started very young. I started cooking when I was 6 years old. And that was perhaps, I don't know, I just knew that at 6 I wanted to cook. And at 6 years old, I baked my first cookies. But
Wow.
that's probably because I also grew up in a household that always had food. So we were always surrounded by food. Our life was food because mom was always entertaining for dad. And dad was then very busy, and our life was always filled with people. So there was food morning, noon, and night, be it here or in our province in La Union. Plus the fact that at that time when I was growing up, we had a very, very good cook. Her name was Aling Amy. So, she'd even bake cinnamon rolls. The cook. The cook, she belongs to the school of the olden times, the cooks that would bake, do everything from scratch. And she was one of those, right? And it was with her that I cooked, of course, watching my mom also. And so at 6, that was how it started. And then now, many, many decades hence, I'm still doing the same thing.
Yeah. So the Aspiras is from La Union and your mom is from the same area or
Yes,
where?
my mom and dad are both from La Union. And so I'm 100% GI. I'm genuinely Ilocana, 100%. No other blood runs in my veins except Ilocano. So,
Manang.
Ilocano.
You.
So, yes, and so my dad is from Agoo, and my mom as well is from Agoo. And there you go.
Oh, okay. Then how did you start in your culinary journey? Where did you learn
Where did I learn to cook?
Wait,
Okay,
further to that, Reggie, what triggered you? Kasi sometimes we just want to be, but really what triggered you to take the first step? Okay, I'm going to be in culinary. That's it.
Because Nancy, there was no other thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to cook. In fact, I have very funny stories, and Tita Beth Romualdez and even Mrs. Florendo will attest to all of this. I was when I think I was grade 6 or 7, I used to already be in the kitchens of Nansuch at that time of Nani Labrador.
Yeah,
So
hi, Nani.
Yeah, so every afternoon, I would spend my afternoons with her, and I'd cook. So the whole of the summer. And then Tita Sylvia will also attest to this, that at the age of 8 years old, she looked at me, or was I 10 then? She looked at me, then she goes, Reggie, there's nothing else I can teach you. You already finished all my courses. So I was the youngest in Tita Sylvia's class. And then after that, I went on to high school. And then high school, I left for Spain. But when I came back, my mom, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but my mom's already gone. So no one's going to get mad at me anymore. So I can probably tell you this. So at that time, my money for tuition, I used to pay Mrs. Florendo. It never went to school, but I'd leave the house in my uniform. Until one fine day, okay, until one fine day, the school calls the house to, of course, say, your daughter hasn't been going to school. So, of course, my mommy, amparing with her hair up like that, very angry. Yeah, you don't remember? She always coiffed. So it's very angry. She goes, what have you been doing? And then I said, I spent the money. I was going to cake decorating school at that time with Mrs. Florendo. Fast forward, one day also, she calls up Tita Beth from Waldes and she goes, Reggie hasn't been going to school. And Tita Beth looks at me because I was actually the first ever student of Tita from Waldes. And it was just her and me in her unit in Avalon at that time. Then she gets a call again from my mom. She goes, is Reggie with you? Yes, Tita, she's with me. Do you know she's not been going to school? Because again, I was cooking whatever money I could gather. I'd spend to learn to cook. And then eventually, so I was in college, and then I just didn't have it in me anymore, because when I graduated from Spain in high school, my mom told me that if I want to go to culinary school, not to come home anymore. She said to go straight to France or do whatever, since I was already in Europe. But I said no. At that time, I felt I was very young. So I went home. And then only to find out later on that it was really to go to cooking school that I wanted to do. But then again, you know how mom is like. She's stringent. So she says, no, you said you were going to go home. You were going to finish, so you have to finish. Diba? So I said, don't worry, mom. I'm not going to ask for a single cent. So, my dad used to laugh at me because I'm baking cookies, I'm making Christmas trees. Do you know, I used to make candy and chocolates, and I'd peddle them in burger machine, in all these places for Valentine giveaway, all of that. And all the money that I had, I'd save. So at some point, I had enough money. And then Tita Beth was going to go to Italy to study. Then she told me, do you want to go with me?
Nice.
So I asked mom and dad. I said, Mom, can I go? Then he said, how are you going to go? You didn't even finish school, blah, blah, blah. Diba? When the old people, they like for you to finish what you started. I was no longer happy there, right? So what I did was, I said, okay, I have the money. But I said, you have to pay for my ticket, because if I have to buy my ticket, I no more money. Diba? So dad and mom paid for my ticket, and then so I went to Europe. And then after that, of course, obviously, after Tita Beth and I were doing all our things, after Tita Beth and I studied in Italy, I wanted to go back to Spain. But at that time, my funds were already very little. Because I had money, or I felt I had a lot of money. And then only for you to find out you really don't have a lot of money. So I was in that kind of a predicament. So when I was in Spain, I had to do different things. So I taught English while there was this guy, his name was Vetter Giusti. He was my dad's friend who introduced me to Luigi, who was the chef of La Rabiata. La Rabiata is an Italian restaurant along Paseo de la Castellana, which was owned by Luigi. The chef was named Luigi also. So the friend of dad talked to him if I could apprentice. So I was there. I was scrubbing floors. I was cleaning vegetables, doing all these things so that I could cook for free and learn for free. In between, I needed spending money. So I was teaching English 3 times a day. And then, it's really, really crazy. And then another one of Dad's friends introduced me to the owners of Alambique. And then there naman, what I did also was I studied while I was also apprenticing. So I'd help them do things like that. So that was pretty much what I did. I just did everything I could to learn how to cook. And the same goes in France. Diba? When I got naman to France, I also started writing. The Princess de Brogue actually took me in, but in exchange for my lessons, I also have to help wash, help her prepare things. So when I was studying, I was teaching English. I couldn't afford anything, but that was when I was happiest because I was learning. So, and then one thing led to another. Then eventually, as I kind of progressed, and then every time I had money, I'd always go out at least yearly to learn a thing or two, to go abroad and to study further.
Reggie, how old
Yes.
were you then? How old were you
Oo.
when you were in Europe?
Young. I came back from Europe, I was 21, I think, when I went back to Shangri-La. And at that time, I
Wow.
opened my first restaurant at around, I think I was 20, 21 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I opened my restaurant was when I realized that I didn't know how to run a restaurant and that it wasn't for me. And then I really realized that being able to run a restaurant is a gift altogether. It's got nothing to do with you being a good cook. It's got
Mhm.
nothing. It's got nothing to do with anything, whether your food tastes good or not. It's got nothing to do with that. Basically, it's just how do I say it? That's one thing to manage it, and another thing is to cook. I just wanted to cook. So eventually, over time, I realized that my people weren't. Basta I was already the third person who got my gulay. So marami na sila in the middle and all that. Then I realized I also didn't like cooking the same thing again and again and again. Because the secret of a restaurant is consistency, right? And
Yes.
I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. So in the afternoons during the downtime of my restaurant, what I do is I cook. I teach. So after cooking for lunch, I teach. And that's when I realized that I actually enjoyed teaching. And then after that, after I did my teaching, after teaching in my restaurant in Shangri-La,
What's the
there
name?
was
What's the name?
Reggie's Bistro. It was inside Country Flora in Shangri-La. Then eventually, I don't know, one thing led to another. Remember, there was a time in Bon Appetit, it used to be Jean, Henny, and Tita Beth's school,
Yeah.
Mm.
right, inside Bon Appetit. And then when they were about to leave, Tita Beth said, "We're leaving," if I wanted to take over. So I took over Shangri-La at that time. So that's pretty much the story.
Marami
many
kaming
years-
tanong. Wait. Marami akong tanong. But let's say hi to people watching. Maraming fancy chef. Doreen D says hi. Marlene
Hi.
Montfort. Hi Reggie.
Hi.
Kim, hello Chef Reggie. Boomer Sky, good afternoon.
Hello.
Natalie and
Wow.
Melanie.
People are so nice to me. These are all the people really, really love me. And that's why I'm so blessed. A lot of people really love me. And 30, 40 years down the road, they still love me. And I always say, maraming salamat, nagpapabola pa kayo sa akin. Diba? It's really a privilege. No, Ton, Nancy, the fact that they actually go out of their way to watch me, or to watch us even, diba?
Right.
Talaga. Thank you very much.
Yes,
But
Nancy.
you've always really been loved. I mean, you have that personality. You're a magnet.
No, wow. Di yata. I try very hard.
Oo nga.
Hindi, kasi hindi ka nagtatago ng hindi ka nagtatago ng buhay. Talagang,
Correct.
you are who you are. That's it.
Yeah.
Marco Antonio says hi also. Marco.
Oh, hi, Marco. Wow. Hi.
So, officially, how many years are you teaching na or in this culinary career?
Wow, I started teaching 30 plus years ago. And my
Wow.
first kitchen, there were only 6 people that could fit because I had no money. It was only that small room that was 5 steps to the right, maybe 3 steps to the left. It was really small. And Katrina Ponce really was my student. Abby was there. But only 6. Nelia Silverio, 6 people. I really didn't have money. It's really small. And then slowly, until I moved to Shangri-La nga. And then when I moved to Shangri-La, it became a little bigger. And then when I had my child, when he was 4, and at that time, I think Bon Appetit was already closing down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my son looked at me and said, Mama, I don't see you. That's because I leave at 6 because from my house, I go to the market. I'll pick up all my palengke, then I'll prep. I'll go to Shangri-La. By the time I'm done with that, it's probably about 4 in the afternoon. So I get home at around 5. And so my child was very small then. And then I said, okay, so I had to move. And I moved to the house ever since. And I've been doing my business and everything that I do from home for a long time.
Kaya, okay.
Yeah.
And you never get back to the restaurants na, di ba? Just,
No more. I never opened a restaurant, but luckily a lot of people who open restaurants, and there are some chains that I do consultancy for. So I'm able to live my dream vicariously through other people without having to worry about the headache. And so they do that. They luckily have very good clients who can make all my dreams come true. And by that, I mean not giving me the headache also, because I pretty much see my creations on a plate, but I don't have to worry about posting it. No, not like that. Hindi talaga yun yung talent ko.
Oo.
Hindi talaga
Wait,
yun.
marami nag-hi. Maravilla Jesloni,
Oh, hi!
Jennifer ko.
Hi!
And I
Jennifer.
remember our friend Pipitas Lechon always credit you for teaching her how to make lechon.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm very proud of that. That I think really my greatest joy, and I think when I look back, I think it makes me happiest to know that I have students who are really, really very, very successful now.
Very successful.
And to be honest, to me, it was never really anything big. Basta for me, my goal lang was always, if I can let you enter the kitchen, even if you just cook an egg, for me, that's fine. Because from there, a lot of things progress, right? Things get better from, let's say, later you have more confidence. Instead of doing 1 egg, you do 2 eggs, and then later you do 4 eggs. Before you know it, you're cooking a souffle. So, it's you somehow build your confidence by just entering the kitchen, diba? So just that. And I have students who never know how to do anything. Now they're roasting pigs, they're roasting turkeys, and their families love them for it. So what better reward could you have? But that's why teaching, I think, is the most rewarding of all professions.
So, question. How did you then combine after your son said, I don't see you? How did you combine your career and being a mom? Single mom.
How did I combine that? Nancy, life is a funny way of working things out in some fantastic way. I have a good God. Things have always fallen into place. And as I get older, I realize there's really not much I should fret about, because things always finds a way. And even I think COVID is the biggest proof that we all find a way to survive. Yeah. And somehow, if you have enough faith, and if you're brave enough, you find a way also to better yourself, stay stronger, and reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Because I don't know, it's just really that. I think all my life has just really been a test of faith. Not that I deserve it, but because my God is really good.
Yeah.
And I really can't say anything more than that.
So you were able to combine motherhood and chefhood.
Yeah, but I think that's the best part now, because I was home, I could do a lot of things. So after that, I could be with him. So, I realized that being a mother has got nothing to do with quality time. Being a mother, or being a parent for that matter, is not quality time. It's time. It's not quality, because, it's really, you have to be there for them, which, luckily, really, I was able to do.
Good girl.
Okay, so maybe we can let's talk about the cookbooks, no? Because those. But before that, ang daming nag-hi Jeffrey ko, Judy Oy, Jenny Lichu.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello.
I don't even know which my camera is here. These are my books. Oh, there. See.
Okay.
These are my 2 books. This is 1 and 2. And I also have my K-drama cookbook, but kanina when we were having technical difficulties, I was all over the place because I don't like making people wait. It makes me very uncomfortable. I'm sorry, Anton, Nancy. I was trying my darn best, but
It's okay.
my best
So what?
sometimes is not good enough.
It's okay. So what's the story of those books? Maybe you can tell us the
Notes
story.
from my kitchen are my cookbooks that are written by my students, not me. These
Oh,
are recipes. These are recipes from my class.
uh-huh.
And the notes were taken by my students because a lot of times when I write down notes, I just bullet it. Di ba? Parang go add. And my students don't seem to understand. In fact, many of them will really tell you this. When I started cooking, and in a lot of my classes in Shangri-La, I didn't even have recipes to start with a blank piece of paper because my classes were
Ah,
always based on what I'd find in the market. So I'll go to the market, I'll come in, and I'll say, "This is your paper, write it down." Until eventually my classes got bigger, and then I guess it became difficult. So I had to actually discipline myself to write recipes. And then so later on, my recipes now are much improved, but these ones were penned by my students. This was penned basically by them. So these are all their notes, and to which I added more notes pa. So parang this is my recipe that I gave out to them. They write it down exactly as we did it in class, even the measurements and the corrections. And then I do one more edit because from that recipe, sometimes if you open the book, there are 3 more variations to one recipe.
so
Very nice.
the so what are the recipes in those cookbook ba? It's
Oh,
different cuisines or maybe for those
no,
people
no,
kasi I'm
no.
sure
When I
a
was
lot of
young,
the people watching now have those books but there might be some people who haven't bought the book. But
yeah.
wait, Mego Mego ko says hi and Macaro says the best chef your recipes really work. Yun nga, maybe
Wow,
you can
wow.
tell
I
us
think
what makes
they're
those
not my
work.
relatives, huh? They're not my relatives. I want you to know.
Tapos Anton, there's Boomer's Tribe knows about UTT member,
Oo,
Masters and the Great Adobo Cook-Off
adobo. Si Boomer's
2015. So,
Tribe.
sumali ba siya? Hi,
Oo,
Boomer.
yes,
Who
sumali
is
siya.
Boomer? Sino si Boomer's Tribe?
Ah,
Oh, Boomer's
hindi.
tribe is, if I remember right, we had something in, my memory is really bad sometimes, sorry. If I remember right, she was one of those who joined a competition that we did for the Korean embassy. And I think she won.
Ah, oh,
Yeah,
wow, nice.
one of those who won. I think she won the trip to Korea, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, will Abby Tijaves
Oh,
hi
hi, Abby
said,
is one of my very, very, very first students. She was my student when I first cooked, and she's still my student now, 30 plus years and running.
Wow.
Yeah.
wow, Imelda Tan,
Oh,
hi,
she's my honor student. My honor
Kelly
student. She
Lee,
spent a lot of my... Kelly, hi!
and
Wow.
Samantha Cal. Dami,
Mego.
a lot of people watching.
Si
So,
Mego.
Hi.
Go.
maybe can we talk about the what's inside the
Inside. Okay.
cookbook
I'll
or
tell
what's
you.
your
I'll tell you talaga.
uh,
Di ba, we all evolve somehow. When I first started cooking, I always wanted to cook foreign things, di ba? Kasi parang it was, parang foreign always. Di ba? The more imported, the more difficult to pronounce, the fancier, di ba? The better. Then over time, I realized this one is really fun. When I was young, arrogant, and parang fresh off the plane, my dad was so proud of me, so he told me to cook in La Union. Okay,
okay.
so I called Santis. I had them prepare mesclun for me, nasturtiums. Di ba? Ang ganda nung salad ko. My
Uh-huh.
salad looked like a garden. This was 30 years ago. Ganda. Di ba? And then I was walking around, and then I could hear someone say, bakit ito pinapakain sa atin? Hindi naman tayo kambing. Di ba? So, so my salad was so nice, but then people pala didn't appreciate it. So over time, and as you get older, you realize, and for me, the greatest success of your dinner is when your guests are happy. Whether it's a plain adobo, it's a plain tinola. In other words, you perform for your guests, right?
Yep.
So if your guests don't like foie gras, even if you spend this much and they don't like it, I see myself personally as a flop, right? Because the person didn't eat it. But if I prepare a good adobo because that person likes adobo and that person is happy, then I'm the happiest person. So there. So going back to that, what's inside this book? My books are now mostly recipes of, they're mostly Filipino recipes prepared the way I like to eat. And basically from, our maybe our family eating habits. So, in this book, like in book one, I have my dad's dulong, my mom something, or our manang something. So it's all like that. And book two is also the same, pretty much. It has um, all of our usual household recipes. And now I really, if there's anything I love to cook, it's really Filipino. I am now home, and I am proudest to say that I am happiest cooking our food because I've come full circle also. And to me, the best food for me at this point is really Filipino.
Okay, let me invade you there. What's a typical Reggie
Oo.
adobo, or is it Ilocano style?
Okay, this is my adobo, and this is my mom's adobo. So the secret to my mom's adobo is simple. You have to get your liempo, and you have to wet your liempo. This is mom's secret. You cannot put your liempo in a pan when it's dry. The liempo has to be wet. Okay, your pan has to be very hot, and then once it's smoking, this is when you add the meat. You brown your meat, and after you brown your meat is when you put the bawang, the suka. My dad didn't
After
like
pa.
laurel, so we didn't have laurel in the house. Bawang, and then a little bit of water. The water was always just enough, the same level, not even to submerge. It's just always the same level as the meat, right? And then she'd let that boil. And then from the bits is how we made our sauce brown. Mom didn't put toyo in her adobo. And then she'd cook it until it's really, really soft and almost falling apart. It was simple adobo, but as far as I'm concerned, it was really the best adobo.
Nam
So
nam nam nam.
yeah. So, and it took long, huh? Mom cooked her adobo for like 2 hours. It was never like it was never
That's
done
part of the
until
secret yan eh.
yeah, then part till the oil comes out,
Yeah.
diba? And then the next step would be if dad wanted it to be binagoongan, mom would put a little bagoong, and then it became binagoongan. So it was fairly simple, but then again, the slow cooking process developed the flavors, and it was excellent.
Yeah. So the cookbook is during the pandemic or before the pandemic pa?
Um, Number one, book one was just before the pandemic, and then I had my K-drama cookbook. I have a
Oh,
K-drama
oo
cookbook
nga,
also.
K-drama. Oo.
My K-drama cookbook naman are all the recipes from your beloved K-dramas. Because before the lockdown, I have a dear friend. Her name is Lily Min. I do culinary tours, which are called Kitchens of the World. So I travel the world,
Okay.
and I bring my students, and we eat. We eat and
Yeah.
drink everything that I like to eat. We meet up with my friends, and we do very highly specialized culinary experiences. So at that time, we had just gone back. We had just gotten back from Korea, and I said, "Let's do a K-drama cookbook." So my friend Lily Min also said, "Okay, let's do it." So since she was the Korean food expert, she did the original recipes, and what I did was to make it more Filipino. So I have edits there, and I also made like a marrying of Filipino and Korean. So that's where my notes come in, because it says K-drama cookbook with notes from Chef Reggie. So in other words, I'm the saling pusa. Yeah,
Oh, nice. So I think this is the perfect time. Let's see the photos, no?
sure.
Maybe if you can caption for us some of the photos para
Okay, let's
some of
see.
the people watching also can really enjoy it. So this is the first one.
Oh, that's me and my son. That
That's him.
yeah, that was him. This was still my school in Shangri-La. So that was him. I would take him every time that I could. So he was with me here. I think this was a shoot for a magazine. I'm not certain, but siguro naman kasi kawawa naman yung anak ko kung binibisa ko siya ng ganyan araw-araw. I hope there was a purpose for this. But I think it was a shoot, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
What's
was
his
like
name? What's
Diego,
his name?
Jose Diego Aspiras. He's named exactly after my dad.
Ah, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Diba?
Oh, yeah, this one. This one, the Bravo Awards. The Bravo Awards. That's for all the things, the little things that I do on the side to somehow make a difference. I always say I'm very, very blessed in ways I can't even imagine. So as far as I'm concerned, I would have wanted, and I want to share a little bit of that. As I always say, because I've been blessed through food, I would, if I could feed as much people as I could, people with no names, at least knowing that there's one person at night who will go to sleep fed, then I should have done my mission, because I have no big dreams anyway. I just do what I can. And I somehow was recognized by Security Bank and Zonta. So for these little projects that I did, and then so this year, or no, sorry, that was last year, I was awarded. I am a Bravo Empowered Woman Awardee for Culinary Arts. This is for all the other efforts that I do that are not like professionally or culinarily. Yeah, it's for my how should I say it? It's for all my other efforts.
Well deserved.
Oh, this one is how my column started. Do you know, I'm
Oh,
very the Kitchen Rescue next year will be my 20th year with the Inquirer.
wow.
Years. Kitchen
How did
Rescue,
it start?
20
How did
years
it
old.
start?
This is how it happened. One day, Cello, then my editor, if you can see her, she's the one to my, she's on my, she's on the rightmost. She's the one with the face cut here. She said, we're always covering food. Why don't we try to cook? So they contacted Helene Pontejos of San Miguel. Helene said, I'm the perfect person. Yeah, I'm the perfect person for you. I'll invite Reggie to the kitchen. So the whole lifestyle team went to the San Miguel test kitchens, the Magnolia test kitchens, there then in Pasig. And then we had such a good time. And then the next day, a few days, Cello calls me and says, do you want to write? And strangely enough, it has always been my dream to write, because if I had not been cooking, my dream was actually to be a journalist. It's just that when I was talking to
Ah,
dad, because my dad was originally a journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to be a journalist, and then somehow they offered me a column, and then there. So until now, Kitchen Rescue remains, and 20 years, God willing, by next year.
oh, wow, congratulations. So before we go to the next photo, Mario Oreta. Hi, chef. I'm watching
Hi,
you. John
hi,
Lim
anak ko yan. Thank you.
and
Hi, hi.
Marinela
Oh,
Santiago. Excited to buy the cookbook.
hi, Marinella. Yes, yes, I've seen you, of course. Hi,
Jenna
Jenna.
Multo. Yeah.
Marco Anto. Okay.
Si Marco. Si Marco kanina pa nanonood.
Marco.
Okay. Next.
Oh, there. That's my dad. That's my
Yeah.
dad. And that's my mom. And my culinary story and my culinary evolution has always been because of them. What I know about food, my exposure, my tongue, my palate, how I entertain is because of mom and dad. And there's always a standing joke in our family. With my mom, we always say, my mom always, when she entertained all animals on the table, and we always say, exage. Si mami exage. Kasi pag may isang animal na wala sa table, hindi pwede. And she was like that until she was 93. When we feed her, and she look at my food and she goes, kulang. Bakit ito lang? If you have 5 dishes, she go, and we have guests, she go, bakit kulang? She wanted all animals on the table. So that was my mom's influence. And my dad, my dad was, dad was pure entertainment himself. No? I mean, dad was sunshine.
I think you got your dad's energy.
Oh,
So
ganun
thank
nga.
you. That's a very, very big compliment. I would
Yeah.
take that.
The personality is all there. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So there, those are my icons. That's my
Galing.
North Star and my sunshine. My mom is my North Star. All that's good in me is because of them. And my dad is my sunshine.
Galing.
Whatever good there is in me is because of them.
That's good. All right. Next.
Oh, this is my cuisination. Cuisination was, this
Oh,
is the
what is that?
kitchen. Remember during Yolanda, the refugees from Leyte were being brought in to Manila. Remember? In Villamor.
Yes, William
So
Moore.
I,
Yes.
yeah, so I set up a kitchen there. We called it cuisination. It's really a tent makeshift. And then what we do is to cook hot meals for all the refugees. And it was there for about a month. And so many people helped me, people in the industry, because I needed cooks every day. I couldn't do it all on my own because people were flying in, a deluge of people. So we needed people to actually manage. So the culinary school sent their students. We were cooking 3 meals a day. And then people from the industry also, like Dison Farms, all of them, they all helped with whatever extra produce they have. They just dump it with us. So we always had vegetables, everything. That's why, really build it and they'll come. People will come and help. So I'm very proud of that cuisination. It's an emergency kitchen. And hopefully, if God permits, this is something that I want to do all over, wherein within 1 or 2 hours of a disaster, people in our industry are able to supply bread. And then within the next 4 hours, we're able to supply hot food because it can really be done. So that's
Nice.
Right.
Good advocacy.
Yep.
All right. Next.
Oh, this is I do a lot of heritage tours because, like I said, it's all about coming home now. So I like to now cook and learn all these local things. And of course, while I'm doing it, I want to wear a headpiece. Para sa
Saan to? Where is this?
This was in Davao. This was my culinary tour to Davao, and this is Marisa, and she's in charge of a lot of indigenous people and indigenous women, and they concentrate on local cuisine. And so they taught me how to make different things, cooking with bamboo, amik, a lot of Muslim food, which is really very good and very interesting. And the nice thing about learning food, kasi, is that it really unifies people. It doesn't need anything.
Yes.
It unifies. You eat together, you share a meal. There's always goodwill, diba? So that's why I think food is to be someone who's able to do that, to cook. And I always say the people who nourish are always the luckiest people. Imagine we're able to cook for people. To survive, to enjoy, and to share. Next time.
Ano to?
Those are my products. So I've been working with small and medium scale businesses. And like, for instance, the one here in front, that's my coffee that I worked on that together with the farmers from the north, the coffee farmers from the north. So I call that my Manang Biday blend. And then to the right, I have my salt. That's also from the sea salt farmers of the north, where we make 100% pure sea salt and a lot of other things. So we just make everything that's Filipino and we try to market it, and we market it with much pride.
Good. Okay.
Those are my juices too on the left. Those are my concentrates. Different things. This is my malunggay pancit canton.
Reggie. So the brand name is Reggie,
Yes, the branding is me.
And it's available in specialty stores or?
No, it's available now. We set up a distribution company, so it's available online, and you can call us. We have different products. So there.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, that's my magic caldero. That magic caldero has really a story.
Good magic. Oh.
Because no matter how much we feed, it never runs out. And that's a fact.
Man, that's
Never talaga, Nancy. We go when there's
Ay,
rain,
galing.
We go under the bridge, and people with me will attest to that. Whether you're feeding 200, 300, or 400, hindi siya nauubos. May inuuwi pa kami. And we look and we always say, paano? How? We don't know. That's why I've started calling it our magic caldero. So it's our first response caldero. And
What's
it takes
the
time to
what
carry it.
what dishes would you usually do for the relief for your kids' soup kitchen?
Well,
What?
definitely. Well, it used to be luga or macaroni soup, things that are easy on the stomach also. Easy
Yeah.
to distribute, diba? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here.
All right.
May fan
Mark
meeting.
Roa. Wait, Mark Roa
Oh,
Jimenez. Hi, Chef
oh,
Reggie the Queen.
oh, the
And
queen, thank you.
and you have a Viber community for your products. What's the
Oh,
name?
oh,
Reggie.
thanks, Marco. Yes, I do. You follow Attar & Co Essentials on Instagram. And our numbers, I'm not quite sure, but we're on Instagram and Facebook. It's called
In
R&Co
Instagram.
Essentials.
Okay. All right. Next.
So
So
those are my books. Oh,
okay.
here's my K-drama cookbook.
Yung K-drama.
My K-drama cookbook.
Okay. Galing ah.
That's one trend that you created, you know.
Which
The
one?
K-drama.
Drama.
Yeah, and it does very well. And I don't know, I think it was also the perfect time, Nancy, when everyone was sad. I myself, for that matter.
Yeah.
My Korean boys kept me happy. Diba? They cannot naman go anywhere. Diba? We were all on lockdown. So they kept us really, really happy. And because of that, I think a lot of people have actually developed an appreciation for Korean food. And I think now every single household prepares at least one Korean dish with ease.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
All right.
Oh, that's my kitchens of the world. So this is us. This is us making our rice wine in making our makgeolli in Seoul. The other one was us in Japan. We're also leaving for Alsace in October, and we're also leaving for Spain and Turkey. We're all these places pretty soon. So you have to keep you follow me on Instagram so you know exactly what's happening.
That's a big group, huh? How do you manage to take care of each
Oh.
one of them?
No, because I partnered. I used to do tours on my own, but though locally. And then eventually, when I wanted to do an international tour, I said, I don't want. If I bring people, I somehow have to be responsible for them, right?
Yeah.
I have to take care of them because if anything happens, God forbid, diba, it's going to be on me. So I partnered with Eileen Clemente of Raja Travel. So Eileen takes care of everything, the bookings, picking everyone up, taking care of everybody. So when we travel, I meet you and wherever let's say I always meet you. I travel ahead. The Raja group will go and travel with the group, take care of everything you want, whichever way you want, even your massage, if you like, they can book everything for you. Then I meet you when you arrive, and then we go and travel together.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
so Eileen takes good care of them because she's the best at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is my first ever TVC, my first ever billboard. Yeah, this was the one. This is Jean and me, and it was always a competition. It's best with bread or with rice. I really would have wanted Jean's to be mine. I would have wanted to say it's best with rice, but they wanted me to appear more social, and I wanted it with bread. In truth, I don't want it with bread. I want it with rice. So that's it. That's the first commercial I ever did. Yeah, the billboard. It was such a kick to see your face in the can, and then when you get your corriente, your Meralco bill, it was my face and Jean's face. Said, "Wow, see, Mom, you got mad at me. Now I have billboard." I finished. Now I have billboard. So that's when I actually said, yeah, pretty good, right choice.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, that's my classroom. Yeah. So now I'm doing my online classes. I do it twice a month. And yeah, twice a month. Yeah.
And yun, depending on the food, ganon, depending
Yeah,
on
they
cuisine.
come. I make a menu. You come depending on the day that you like. It's usually a full course. It's a full course meal, or sometimes I do roasts or I do just all fish, depending on depending on the subject.
So, but how does it go? You give them the recipes or and the ingredients, or
No,
just the
no, no. They just
instruction?
come, yeah, they just really come online, and I do my classes live on the day itself.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I'd rather teach live. Face to face is so much better, so
Yeah.
much more fun. I like people around me. It's so much more fulfilling. I think
And
it's
have you
nice.
started face to face? Wala pa.
Oh, I'm
No
very,
plans. Yet.
I'm dual eh. I'm not that brave. I'm not that brave. So for now, no.
Okay. That's it. That's for the photos. Wow,
Um,
ganda.
and
A lot
Margot
of
gave the number, I think, of your products.
Wow, Marco, thanks. I owe you so much. I think we have to do lunch. Wow, the best. Thank you. Marco is my co-parent from Xavier. Our sons were batchmates.
What talaga?
Yeah, yeah.
So tell us about Diego. How old is
Dito
Diego,
sa
he?
Mabile.
my,
Lang.
hi Nix.
Hi, Nick.
Diego, my son is my dream child. He's everything that I could ask for in a child. I don't worry about him. He wakes up on his own. He does his own homework. He gets good grades. He wakes up for football. The only thing he does, he says, "Mom, can you sign when I have to sign something?" He applied for college on his own. Does everything, and then he always just asks for help when he needs it. He's a good kid, and
Blessing.
yeah. So that he really is my
Mhm.
greatest gift, I think. And I think, yeah, I think I've done well in that regard.
You have, Reg. Yeah, you are not Ev. You are.
Well, thank
Doing
you.
well.
And then, kaya lang funny yan, growing up, siguro sa kanya talaga, it was nothing, di ba? He goes, Mom, when he was really small, he'll go, Mom, can you roast me a goat? I like to eat goat for lunch. So, and then sometimes I go, Mom, can you make me a turkey? So, it never probably occurred to him na yung kambing, kailangan marami kayo para kumain, di ba? Or kung gusto niya pa minsan hingi siya ng, Mom, can you cook a turkey? It's turkey this big, just for you. Yes, Mom. So, marami siyang ganun. But at the same time, growing up, he also says, Christmas time, he always says this, Mom, my shirts smell like dilis. Because I make lots with dilis, right? So Christmas time, we make a lot of it. So he goes, Mom, my shirt smells like dilis. This means no one's going to take care of me anymore. So Christmas time, when December comes, what he does is he orders his own food because he doesn't bother us anymore in the kitchen. So he's self-sufficient that way.
Okay. So what's next for ano? What's next for Chef Reggie?
Whatever comes. I
Do you have a
always,
bucket list? Do you have a bucket list ba after pandemic?
you know what? I'll tell you this. I stopped asking. I stopped asking for things. I stopped making lists. I stopped even dreaming of anything and everything because you know what? What's given so far in my life, what's given to me is always greater than what I could ask for, more than what I could pray for. So I just allow myself to be surprised every day. I wake up, I say thank you, and I wait for what comes. I do what I have to do every day. One thing that I try to do is always show up for work. When I have an audience, I have to make sure that I come and entertain and make sure that the people who part time with me learn a thing or two from me and I give them my best. And after that, everything else just comes because things do come.
Love
And
life.
always, just always be happy and grateful, I guess. That's what it is.
Love life.
Always. Always good.
Really. All good.
Yeah.
Ay, tanong si Nancy yun. Wait.
Really.
Kim said, Diego is super blessed to have a mom like
Yes.
Chef Reggie.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. A lot of the people here I see, they're all my co-parents. My students have become not just my students, but they've become my family. They cry with me, they laugh with me when I tell them, look at them, they're all there. They're my biggest, I call them my tribe. They're always with me for everything that I need. They're always there. And I'm grateful. They know that I always say, I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. Always, always. Thank you.
Yes. And I guess for me, my main question, you have a very long story career. and you learn a lot. A lot of people are starting in the industry. What were the lessons that you can, share to the next generation or advice, no? Kasi iba rin yung next generation coming into the culinary industry. Eh.
Like Diego.
Oh.
Diego's gonna play football. I don't think he wants to cook. So
But for the next generation, any advice for them? Yeah, any advice for them?
remember how it's like when you start and you try to cook like everyone else. In a world now that's so global, you have to realize, and I always say this, we can now easily go to Japan to eat what we want to eat. People can easily go to France to experience that. So people can actually go everywhere to experience whatever experience they want to experience, right? At the end of the day, as a cook, I always say this. Nancy and I can always cook the same thing. We can cook from one recipe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Nancy's food and my food will always taste different.
Yeah.
And Nancy and I have to celebrate that difference because that's what makes Nancy Nancy and makes Reggie Reggie.
Yeah.
And in a world of cooks, there is no room for us to, let's say, make one less to make yourself more. I think there's room for each and every one of us because we will all be uniquely our own. So moving forward, when I think about it, what are we supposed to do? You were asking me. My advice is simply learn your basics, then put yourself in it. Put your own personal stamp, cook with your own flavors, cook with your own history, cook from your heart, cook from your spirit. Because the only thing I think that I can contribute in this sea of people who all cook well is me. I'll never be Nancy, but I'll always be me.
There's so much room for everybody,
Yeah.
especially now that the internet opened the planet.
Yeah. And there's really room for all of us because we're all one different, diba? Like one can be very good with a restaurant. I'll never open a restaurant, right? And someone else will cook, but will teach, but that person who teaches will be totally different from me. So, like I always say, we have to put it. And it's nice because all of us now, since the pandemic, especially, we've all been pulling each other up. We've all been there for each other, and I think the industry has become stronger because of it.
That's true. I got lost, Teka. Anyway, proceed. Wala ako.
Nandiyan ka na, Nance. We can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any question for Nancy? For Reggie?
Yun nga, hindi pa sinasagot eh.
Ano?
Love life.
Love life, wala. Meron ba?
Ha?
Meron ka bang papakilala sa akin? Meron ba? Meron ba akong love life?
Kailangan mo pa bang may papakilala?
Ha?
Pa ba? Hello?
Ano? No. I actually, ayaw talaga nilang pasagot yung tanong mo eh. Time na raw, time na.
Time up na.
Ayaw.
Wait, si Marco may hirit. Opa daw ang like ni Chef. Yan.
O, di ba, Marco, meron ba?
Opa.
Meron ba? Meron? Wala nga eh.
All right. Yeah. It's very inspiring, Reggie. No, everything that you've shared with us, your advocacies as well, and maybe some final thoughts lang before we end the show.
My final thoughts. Well, I only have this to say, Anton. Thank you so much for getting in touch with me. Thank you for doing this for me. Thank you so much for liking my book. Thank you so much for always being there for me. Thank you for always accommodating me, for always helping me out. Know that I am very, very grateful. Nancy, you too. It's been a long, exciting, and joyful culinary journey for all of us. And I look forward to many more years of working together. I wish you, Anton and Nancy, the best, and I really, really appreciate your time spent with me. I am grateful, Nona.
Yeah. Well, with the new...
Imelda, can you hear me, Anton?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
sorry. I can hear you.
Imelda, my success is only because you guys are there. Really, you know that Imelda has been my student also. She was perhaps one of the first 6 or the first whatever.
Wala.
Oh,
Wow,
that's
super ano ah.
they were my students. Na they just had paper and ball pen, and then I'll just do whatever. And that's why Imelda became a perfect note taker because I only had blank sheets of paper. Imelda, can you please attest to that? Yeah. That's
uh,
oh, and I always say this: I only am blessed because all of you are there, and they continue to be there.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. God bless also. Let's see if we can get Nancy. Nance.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, see, did you notice ever since you asked my love life question, lagi ka nawawala?
Oh.
Diba? Huwag mo raw yun itatanong unless may pakikilala ka sa akin.
malay mo, dito marami.
Oh, yan, sila mo, ayaw.
Ayaw talaga.
Anton.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll close it. That is so true, sabi ni Imelda.
Yeah,
And Anna Lee, Chef, Reggie helped me in my business success. Galing.
Oh, but you're now very successful, Ana. Wala na. Huwag mo kong kalimutan, ha?
All right. Maraming salamat. For those people watching on the live stream, please like and share this video. Very inspiring story of of Reggie Aspiras, you know, and buy the
Yes.
book.
Yep,
Of course,
the books
buy
are
the
all
book.
out. They're in all your.
Where can you buy it?
In select
Where can-
national bookstores, yes, and you can also get them at Arinco Essentials. And remember, for all those who like to cook, just keep cooking. And remember, there's no substitute for hard work. If you want to be a cook, you're gonna burn, you're gonna sweat. It's hard work, but it's very rewarding. Very, very rewarding.
And you have to take that. You have to take that from an Ilocana.
From an Ilocana. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really
All
hard
right.
work.
Thank you guys. Live an
Bye,
awesome
guys.
life.
Love
Bye-bye.
you. Have
I
fun
love
with
you,
your
Nancy.
things.
Thank you, Anton. Maraming
Yeah.
salamat. Let's get
Maraming
together
salamat.
soon.
Yes, God is good. Can you do a short clip? Short clip.